This is garbage. This is a sandpaper rack I made 3 years ago out of some MDF and drywall screws, and I think it's time to replace it. I finally have some time in the shop to just work on something for myself or for the shop, and so today I'm going to be making this sandpaper rack out of some 1/2-inch birch plywood. Of course, we are starting off strong by breaking down all of our plywood. These sheets are going to be 24 by 19 inches. That was all I had available. The original plan, I planned on doing 24 by 22, I think, but I had to change up the files and just make it work for the wood that I had. I'm just going to be using pin nails to secure this down to the wasteboard. That should be more than enough. I'm not too worried about it coming loose or anything like that. And then using the High Country Tools 1/4-inch downcut bit, this thing should go pretty smoothly. Well, it just came out, and good thing I was just sitting here watching the CNC because it did this little leg here, and then it went, and I was like, oh, what just happened? And I noticed it started digging even deeper into there, and I stopped it, and it ripped all this up. My bit must have slipped. All right, let's fix this and restart. All right, got that retightened. I even cleaned it up a little bit, just checked everything to make sure that it was still good. Now we'll run it again. Good thing we were only like 20 minutes into this carve, because this carve is like an hour and a half. I feel like a lot of people with CNCs don't show the bad parts of having a CNC. There's so many things that can go wrong and that do go wrong with CNCs that a lot of people just think that CNCs are some sort of magical tool that you just put wood on and say go and it just cuts. It's a lot more than that. It's learning the program and how to use it best. It's learning all of the variety of CNC bits that work with it. And then it's just a ton of reverse engineering, learning from your problems and learning how to make them better with the things that have gone wrong. Even with all the headaches, I'm really glad that I have a CNC. It's really changed the way that I do things in my shop, and it's just such a big upgrade. Oh yeah, one more thing that people think that CNCs do is cut super fast. But depending on your job and what you're trying to do with it, it's not like a super fast process. This carve took an hour and a half, and it's a very simple carve. I probably could have sped it up and made it go faster, but I didn't want anything to go wrong, so I just ran it at a speed that the program recommended. And a lot of that depends on the machine you have, the router bits you have, the wood you're working with, etc. There's just a lot of factors to all of this that you need to just consider when you are running a CNC. All right, got the second one loaded up, so let's get this thing going. This time I put the dust collection on because the last carve filled my whole shop with just dust, and it's no bueno. Nobody likes a shop full of dust floating around. The dust collection actually works really well, so I always recommend putting your dust collection on. I didn't for the last video because I like to show what the CNC is doing, and I'm sure you also like to see it. The second cut, which is the back, took half as long because I only cut one of them out, but the cut went perfectly smooth and I'm happy with the way that everything came out. Next, of course, is sanding. I'm using my Surf Prep sander with the Surf Prep sandpaper. Both good products. I highly recommend them. I also recommend turning on your dust collection when it's hooked up to your hose. That would really help keep the dust level down when you're sanding. I'm very curious to see what would happen if I pre-finished all of these pieces before I threw them on the CNC. It would mean less sanding or maybe no sanding at all, and it might make the process go quicker. I'm not really sure. Have you guys ever tried pre-finishing something before you throw it on the CNC? Seems like a good idea to me. Anyways, checking to make sure that everything is square and that all the dados line up. That was my biggest concern, that somehow I would have messed up the file and none of the dados would have aligned correctly. Once I made sure that they did line up correctly, I could cut the shelves for the box and get these things set in and see if it all actually does come together well. which surprisingly they did. I say that because sometimes you put your dimensions into the program and you give them, you know, a tiny bit of wiggle room and it's still not enough. And you just have to go back and readjust the file and try and find a way to make things work. But by a miracle, this all came together really nicely, so I'm really happy with that. Assembling this is super easy. All I'm using is some Titebond quick and thick and then some pin nails to hold it together. I think with the dados and with the quick and thick glue, this thing should be plenty sturdy. I'm not too worried about only using pin nails to hold it together. If I feel like it needs more, I would probably only go up to brad nails. I really don't feel like you would need screws on this. I feel like that would be a little bit of overkill. But hey, if you feel like you would put screws in this, the file is available on my Etsy, link in the description. Feel free to swing by there, pick this bad boy up, and carve it yourself. Put some screws in there, or, you know, whatever. All right, not bad. This is a prototype. It's just gonna be for me, so it doesn't have to be perfect. I definitely do want to try making this thing out of Baltic birch instead of just birch. This stuff chips out so bad. It's not the best plywood, and it's just not gonna give you the best results. But this is a working thing. So I am gonna pick up some 1/2" Baltic birch and try this again. There's probably only 1 or 2 things on this I'm going to change in the file. The first one is going to be this part right here. I want this to be, I think, a little bit higher, so you could put a sticker or a logo on here, and you can have it visible in case you put anything on top of that. The second thing would be is that these grooves on the side go all the way through to the back, and they pop out here through the back, which isn't like structurally a huge deal. It's just annoying, and I think it would look better if I could get these dados to stop right before the backing comes in. I think that would just make this thing look super clean and just give it a really professional look. Unfortunately, I'm all out of 1/2" plywood, so I'll have to pick up some more. Stay tuned, because I will be putting out another video on building this out of Baltic birch, and it will be much nicer. Thanks for watching, everybody. Be good, be safe, be happy, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.